Welcome to Robotics and Automation News webinars, where you can be part of a global event without leaving your home or office. Attend our live webinars and communicate directly with influential professionals in your industry.
Hello, my name is Abdul Montakim. I'm editor of Robotics and Automation News.com. In this interview, I speak to Carlos Millan, Business Development Manager at Oceaneering AGV Systems. If, like me, you didn't know much about Oceaneering before, it's a really large engineering services company based in Houston, Texas. Its annual revenues are around $2 billion and it employs more than 8,000 people. Like any big technology company, its activities are many and varied. But what's relevant to our website is Oceaneering's range of automated guided vehicles, which are mainly used for material handling in warehouses and their underwater equivalents, or UGVs, which tend to be used for work on oil and gas rigs, although Milan is specifically in charge of AGVs. Milan was also recently selected as the chair of the AGV industry group at the Material Handling Institute, which is the largest material handling, logistics, and supply chain association in the US.
My name is Carlos Millan, and I am the Manager of Business Development for the Americas for Oceaneering AGV Systems. I'm responsible from Canada all the way through the US and down through the Americas to attract new business and keep existing customers happy.
Right, and your company, Oceaneering, does have an AGV which you have kindly sent me a video showing. I think I've seen it before as well. Could you sort of talk about that, elaborate or describe it? I'm going to use the video in the final edit so people will see it, but tell us a bit more about that.
Okay. That video contains our compact mover standardized module. So our compact movers have a standard manufactured base. The navigation can change from whether it's magnets on a grid on the floor, or through laser navigation, or through landmark. But the unique thing about the compact mover is that it has different handling devices. So as you can see, some of these have fork over legs that you'll see on the video. It will also have, instead of a fork over leg, it will have a single conveyor. And then you'll have the dual drive vehicles that have a front end and a back end. And in between, they have a material handling device, whether it's a single conveyor, 4 conveyors, 2 conveyors. It will all depend upon the application. And then that particular vehicle, which that you probably see in the video, can crab and can communicate with either passive or active conveyors.
Yeah, it looks very interesting. It looks different from the other AGVs that I've seen. How old is this machine? When was it developed and when was it brought to market? Although I think I've seen it before, I'm not actually sure. How old is it? What's its development history?
The development history probably goes back several years. It's been deployed and operational both in Europe and in the Americas. So the compact mover became standardized back in roughly 2013 when Frog, the original AGV company, was acquired by Oceaneering. So they have a lot of history, but then they've just been modernized.
Right. And this market itself, AGVs, as well as autonomous mobile robots, which I think are slightly different from AGVs, is really growing fast overall, as well as in terms of each segment is growing fast. What's been your experience of the market? I mean, the kind of sectors you're dealing with, customers or businesses you're partnering with or talking with. What's been your experience of the market? this particular market, AGVs and AMRs?
Well, this market is growing at a rapid rate. Also, the technology is ever changing. As you mentioned, the AMRs, they've been differentiating themselves based on their requirement of being able to navigate using obstacle avoidance and collision avoidance. And AGVs, they have collision avoidance, they just don't stop and go around. Some of them don't go around obstacles. However, I firmly believe that within the next 12 to 24 months, the technology that AMRs use is just all going to meld together with the AGVs. So it's going to become the same technology, just different material handling devices for different applications. With regard to our markets, our verticals are primarily automotive and manufacturing, and we do have on the website, we go over warehousing and pharmaceuticals. We do handle hospitals as well. I mean, a lot of those are existing customers, but we are targeting the automotive, manufacturing, and just material handling. As long as things have to get from A to B, whether we prefer to go after the complex systems, but doesn't matter. It doesn't really, nothing is precluded from our pursuits with regard to moving, mission critical pieces from point A to point B.
Right, I can see on your website the industries you serve is aerospace, entertainment, material handling, military and defense, oil and gas, renewable energy, and science and research. Those are the ones that are listed, but material handling is material handling in any field. The other thing that interests me is I think I've seen sort of unmanned, sort of underwater vehicles that Oceaneering produces. Could you tell us a little bit about that? I've definitely seen them over the last couple of years since I've started covering this subject. But could you tell me about your underwater vessels, the unmanned vessels? What kind of machine it is? A little bit about the machine and what kind of applications it's put to. What kind of industries use it?
Okay. Well, if I take a step back and look at Oceaneering, Oceaneering basically has 5 divisions at corporate. One of them being subsea products, subsea projects, asset integrity, and remotely operated vehicles. So as you ask about the remotely operated vehicles, they are manufactured in the US and they serve the oil and gas industry, providing drill support services, well completion, intervention, and construction. And some of these are tethered, and some of them are autonomous without a tether, remotely controlled. Those products have bled into, if I go and look at advanced technologies, which is one of the 5 divisions that's based out of Hanover, Maryland. So that technology has also been used in one of the divisions of advanced technologies that does a lot of work for the US government. So we do commercial work with ROVs and we do government work with ROVs. And they support, the missions. Obviously in the defense world, those missions vary. And in the commercial world, they vary anything from, well, like I said, well completion, intervention, construction, support services.
Yeah, your business, your company, Oceaneering, when you look at the website, there's so much more to it. So many products and services is particularly busy. There's lots and lots of things to look at there, integrated solutions and industries and all sorts of things.
Oceaneering is a public company, traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and it has roughly 9,500 plus employees worldwide in 28 countries. And obviously our headquarters is in Houston, and that's 5 divisions out of Houston. And I think I'm just going to go back and kind of dig a little deeper. From those 5, we had one called Advanced Technologies that housed out of Hanover, Maryland, where we have another 5 divisions. 3 of them are U.S. government-centric. One of them is Space Systems, supporting NASA. Another one is Marine Services, one of 3 companies certified to do work on nuclear subs. And we have another one called OTEC that does a lot of specialized work for Department of Defense. And then the 5th, there are 2 other divisions, out of the 5. One of them is entertainment, which manufactures, develops, and deploys tracked and trackless rides to amusement parks, and the AGV division providing material handling, logistics to different verticals and processes.
And there I was thinking it was a relatively new startup, and you're talking about something that is very, very seriously established. If it's one of only 3 companies that's allowed to work on nuclear subs, then yeah, that's fairly well established in my book. But the autonomous guided vehicles and autonomous underwater vessels, that's fairly new technology, certainly in the commercial civilian space. So that's probably what gave me the impression that you're a fairly new company with a startup sort of I don't know what the word is, attitude or sort of approach. I mean, those are fairly new technologies. Would you agree with that? I mean, is there some aspect that you would consider Oceaneering to be learning things and maybe trying new things out? Does that come under that sort of description? Does that description fit?
Well, I think the ROVs have been around for some time, but obviously, as technologies change, Oceaneering is used to pushing the limits of that technology, testing, deploying, and making sure that they are commercially viable.
Right, and I'm seeing online, just doing a quick Google search, the revenue for 2017 is $2 billion. So it's a very, very large company. Where do you, I mean, what's your impression of where the majority of the revenue, or what are the strong sectors at the moment, and where do you think growth is going to come from in the next year or 2, or maybe beyond?
Well, I think as I mentioned, Oceaneering, is most of its work is the oil and gas field. And if you go, if you see the press releases or the investor presentations, roughly 80 or so % is coming from the oil and gas sector, and then you've got advanced technologies carrying another 20%. But with regard to the future, I think it's all going to revolve around automation. Automation, which will ultimately go to AI, but we are engineering-centric company that does not shy away from the difficult challenges that is brought to us from the commercial and the defense sectors.
Okay, and I suppose we could just ask you to elaborate finally on what automation potentially can do.
Well, coming from my perspective, I would defer the answers to some of those to the guys that are actually my counterparts in the oil and gas field. They'll probably give you the better answer than I will. My focus is in the AGV division, and if you were to ask that question and guide it toward the AGV automated guided vehicle world, I would say that everything is going to be changing in the next 2 years to make it much more automated, from the manufacturing to basically putting it on the truck to ultimate delivery to a customer or to an end user. So I think that has happened already. I think it's still being tested, but I think that is not far away from true reality.
Now, just one last question. Now, Oceaneering, with a name like that, it's understandable that so much of its business is, ocean-based, if you like. Now, it's kind of a bit of a departure to come and almost onto land and do an AGV for warehouses. But given that so much of the world's trade, globally, goods are moved around by sea, is that something that factors into your, potential market projections as to who you're gonna sell to, what kind of customers you might have? I mean, ports and things like that would probably end up automating a lot of their operations, even warehouses, and moving things off ships onto land and so on. That kind of thing. How do you maybe give us an insight into what your business strategy is going forward in terms of marketing and selling your AGVs and warehouse automation systems?
Well, our perspective is that we're looking as an engineering type company. We look at complex systems, mission critical products or loads going to production lines. So our focus is in the manufacturing world, whether it's automotive or anything that needs pieces, parts to be delivered consistently, on time, repetitively in manufacturing space, because obviously time is money, and the production lines they cost money when they're down. And our goal is to keep that production line going, and that can range from the electronics to plastics to automotive to tier 1 automotive to when you say manufacturing, it's such a wide term. And our focus there, like I was saying, that it's mission critical. That's where we like to focus. And when you talk about the ports, we've collaborated and had systems in Rotterdam moving containers, and we're investigating that part of the world as well. But when you go back to the AGVs and you talk about manufacturing and moving product within facilities or even outside facilities, what also is coming down the pike is the outdoor AGV, moving product outside.
Yeah, I've kind of realized that there was regulations that kind of are required to, you're required to meet regulations about outdoor AGVs. I hadn't thought of that, but indoor AGVs are okay. They're less, there's a difference. So yeah, the idea of being able to produce AGVs that take goods from one facility, go through outdoor semi-public place, even within the grounds of a port and things like that, it would be very interesting how the sector develops, really. So okay, so your AGV is mainly aimed at the moment, you're going for manufacturers, or those are the kind of businesses you're dealing with, as far as I can tell from what you're saying. Is logistics part of the equation, or is it sort of equal in terms of number of customers? How are your customers, sort of, if you were to segment them, what would you say they look like, without necessarily naming them?
Our customers look like, I'd say, manufacturing primarily. And when you say logistics, it's interesting you say that because logistics is part of the manufacturing process. It's moving goods to the line to be taking raw material to the line to be put together, manufactured, processed, and then moving goods off the production line into storage or buffer zones or into trailers to be moved. So it's a concept that incorporates both with respect to material handling. Manufacturing and logistics, I think, go hand in hand.
Okay, Carlos, thank you very much for your insights and your time and for being patient with my rambling questions. Is there anything that you'd like to say that I didn't ask about that I maybe missed out
on? No, that I can think of. Besides that, our AGVs are robust. They're industrial. They're not meant to be, moving small packages here or there. They're meant to last a very long time, longer than people expect. We have a lot of AGVs out there that last 10 plus years, and that speaks for the quality of what we deliver, and we support our customers through that life cycle. But no, that's what I wanted to add. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and the time you spent with me. And again, thank you.
Send us an email at sales@roboticsandautomationnews.com to register for one of our many upcoming webinars. And if you'd like us to host your webinar, we have a range of options, including long-term lead generation packages and marketing campaigns. We look forward to hearing from you soon.